So I have to be. So I have to give access to the collection. So we have lots and lots of different objects. So everything from, shells to bones to taxidermy to pressed plants and fungi. So we've got a huge range of material from the natural world, and so it's not just taxidermy, it can be anything that's basically natural, and I have to provide access to that for researchers or for education and outreach, and I have to know a lot about it and be able to tell stories about what we have. So a curator, for want of a better word, is also a storyteller, so they have to be able to illustrate what those objects are so that they're more accessible to people, because some people may look at an egg and think, oh, well, that's not very interesting. But you say, well, no, well, this was collected in 1818 by this gentleman who was the first noted natural history curator or collector of the Isle of Man, and so on and so on. So you can start making that story interesting and relating it back to people now as well. So you can say, well, this species doesn't exist here anymore because it's extinct. It's a giant deer, and it lived here 11,000 years ago. But these used to roam the hills of the north of the island. Oh, sorry, the plains of the north of the island. Or this is a new species now because things are getting a little bit warmer. All of a sudden, this certain butterflies started to appear that we never had before. So it's interesting, and it changes, and it informs people about what they see.
And I suppose part of telling that story of the Isle of Man is hosting this wildlife week.
Yes.
And I guess what else is it all about? Because I mean, it's such a packed schedule this year, from biosphere to bats, bees, butterflies, bluebells, birds. I mean, yeah. It's a bit of an alliteration there.
Yes,
on the bees,
huge alliteration. Well done. Yes, so there's we wanted to appeal to as many people as possible, to all ages, to all skill levels, for people that are completely, complete novices at the natural world, but just realise how important it is becoming, and how we need to get involved, and you only protect what you love, and so we want people to start to realise how amazing the natural world is, or if they already know how amazing it is, to learn even more about it and help us, because there are quite a few projects in here where they're wanting to recruit volunteers. Like, for instance, with Friends of the Neb, so they want to stop the spread of invasive plant species on the island. That's actually becoming a real serious problem. They're threatening our native species. They can choke up rivers. They can affect the whole food chain. So they want more people to get involved. Yes, and also, specialists want to sort of impart some of their knowledge and illustrate, some of the lovely places that they look after. So there's such a variety. Or if you've got the creative side and you'd like to learn the history of plants and how people used to use them, there's even a lady that's doing a course teaching you how to make salves and tonics. So it's a huge range of things. It's very exciting.
and it builds on sort of the launch year that was last year. So how does this schedule compare to last?
So it's more than doubled, so that's really exciting. I think people saw how well last year went and the great response that we had, and so we've just had more and more people coming to us wanting to be involved, and very much like Heritage Open Days, where we've got all sorts of different organisations wanting to highlight the things that they do. This is the exact same thing, but with wildlife and nature and conservation. So that's really great. So it's not just run by Manx National Heritage. Yes, I'm organising it and helping promote it, but really it's about people wanting to get involved and tell people about what they do, and that's what's so exciting.
And it's got quite the celebrity endorsement as well this year.
It does. So we have Simon King coming again. So for those of you who don't know who he is, he has been a wildlife photographer and filmmaker for decades. He's incredibly good at what he does, but he's also a presenter as well. So some people will have seen him on Spring Watch and Autumn Watch. He's got the stereotypical natural history, whispery, silky voice that comes over the airwaves very well. And but he's also incredibly knowledgeable. I mean, I'd never met him before last year, and I was just blown away by his knowledge of natural history and and his ability to interpret animal behaviour in the countryside. You know, he really showed me a thing or two, and I mean, I'm no expert by any means, and he was just so interesting, and he's an incredibly good speaker. Everybody that went to his talk last year really enjoyed it, and said how much they kind of, you know, were entertained by his speaking. So yeah, it was really good.
And he sort of forms part of some of the ticketed events that you know, you've got to book your place for, but there's also some free events as well. Is that right?
Well, so virtually all of the events are free. So the only things that we have are the events with Simon King that are ticketed, and the lady that's making the tonics, but everything else is free.
And where do people sign up to them, I suppose? Where can they go?
If you could go onto our What's On page, so if you Google Manx National Heritage and you go onto our What's On page, and you'll see Wildlife Week, and if you click on that, that will show up all the events, and they're all timetabled, and then there you'll have links to go to our Eventbrite pages, and that's where you can reserve your place. And if you can't make it, do let us know and cancel your ticket, because if this year's anything to go by, last year virtually sold out with everything, and so yeah, if you can't make it, then hopefully somebody else can. So yeah, we're super excited.